Hello. We are now live, and I'll just go live also on Instagram. Okay. So, welcome to everyone that's joining us. It's really, really a fun moment because I get to sit down here with three wonderful people that I'm really happy for you guys to meet and to hear from and to connect with, from Chiara and Delphine and Priscilla. And they are the tribe mentors that are helping inside the tribe to support tribers inside this journey. And by the way, if you're joining in and you're kind of wondering what this is about, so the doors of the tribe are open until tomorrow at midnight. We are opening our doors on rare occasion. Hello, Florence. We're opening our doors on rare occasions to welcome new members in. And now it's one of those moments that we do that. And tomorrow is the last moment to join, tomorrow at midnight, Central European time. And while you're tuning in, if you have any kind of questions at all about the tribe, you're super welcome to ask them. And maybe also, Shivani, maybe you could share the Shivani from my team, that you don't see her, but she's around here as well helping. But maybe I'll do that in a second. But first, something that I wanted to share with you that I'm quite excited about. But first, I would love for you guys to get to know our mentors. So, guys, do you mind introducing yourself a little bit? You can just jump in when you want. But you need to unmute yourself.
I can start. No, Pri, you're
Yay.
going. Pri?
Go.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So I'm Delphine, and it's been a little time now that I'm following the tribe as a mentor, and it's been a long time that I'm following Metal in her work in Fathom High, and also following her as a dancer, more as a audience, but it's really like through the Feldenkrais and Fathom High that we connected. And it's something that I discovered in a live workshop about 10 years ago, and it really radically changed big perspectives in me and in my way of moving. And since then, I really got very intrigued into Feldenkrais, and I followed, and now I'm joining the tribe as a mentor. I just recently finished my Feldenkrais training also. And in general, I really love hosting spaces, taking care, following groups. I studied pedagogy also before, so it's really something that matters to me. And so I'm very enthusiastic to be here and to slowly meet all the people who are joining the tribe.
Yeah.
Was it full enough, or you can always ask me more things.
We'll ask loads of stuff, but it's wonderful. Thank you.
Hello. I am Priscilla, also tribe mentor, also following Metal since a long time, I think 10 years. I met Metal during my training to become a professional dancer, and I was actually in the same class of Chiara, so it's also very sweet to be here together. And since then, I got also very intrigued into the method, and therefore then I did also the training. I'm a Feldenkrais practitioner since 1 year, and it has really changed my life in the way I experience my body in motion, and therefore, I don't know, the whole aspect of having an embodied experience of the world. So it's really a big gift, and at the same time it's also very simple. It's funny because it has this it's very deep work, because it's very accessible at the same time. So I'm very grateful, and I'm also very grateful to be part of this project and of this team in the role of the mentor, and basically to offer support, to listen to people curiosities or questions, and and give a point of view, and then still with the beginner mind, going along together with people, understanding and also stimulating one another, like being inviting out oneself to be curious a bit. And I move my hands a lot when I speak. That's very fun. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Free.
Okay. I'm Chiara. You hear me good? Yes, okay. I'm very happy also. I'm a tribe mentor since September, so not so long ago. So I'm also starting to dive in this project, which makes me very happy. I met Meital and so also Ben Feldenkrais many years ago, but then I met Meital and so Feldenkrais in dance when I was in my academy with Priscilla, and it completely unblocked for me dancing and possibility of moving and just feel pleasure also in movement and um, just be in contact and dialogue with where the boundaries are, and then boundaries can become possibilities. So it for me Feldenkrais and Fatum High, it's a way of being in life. So then this guided me through all my interest and education that went also afterwards, and I also finished my Feldenkrais training not so long ago. I'm right now in my center with the skeleton, and and I also love the work with children with Feldenkrais. So that's also something else. So since I dived in the tribe, I feel it's also a way of having a constant question and dialogue with how we can keep on learning. It's very nourishing for me to see what the other tribers are writing and what the people are putting out as questions. So it can be a notebook where we keep on exchanging thoughts and questions and problems and pains, and then it can keep on rolling this way. So I'm really happy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, like, I'm gonna say it to you guys that are listening, because like when I first started out the tribe, it was still smaller, and then it started to grow, and it was important for me to bring people in that there was something for me when I went to learn to become a Feldenkrais teacher, that there was something so special in the ambience, and I think you guys might agree with me, that space of that there's something really very nourishing in that space, and that it feels like a space where you can really be yourself, where you're not judged, where you're not where you don't need to try constantly to be something that you're not. And somehow that feeling was something that I really wanted to carry into the tribe when creating it in the first place, and that's one of the things that I keep on constantly moving with and through. So then, like, when I wanted to invite people in, like, and it was so intuitively that I thought right away of you guys, and there's Jofi as well, the fourth tribe mentor that is not here tonight. She couldn't join us, who's a wonderful, of course, person as well. And there's just something so, about you guys, that I feel that there's something so warm and welcoming and caring and empathetic, and it really felt so, I don't know, so much that it could really help this community grow to what I imagine it and unfolding. And even now, like over the last couple of days, Delphine can say, because she and I, in the last couple of days, were going into the community to say hi to the new tribers that are there. And it's so amazing to have that space with people, and to have you guys there with me to support everyone together. And I would be curious, maybe you guys can share a little bit about your experience with Feldenkrais, with Fathom High, like what changed for you, what are the biggest changes that you sense in your life, in your movement, in anything, in any kind of way since you started with this method, with this practice? I think could be nice to hear. We have this moment of who's starting. We can jump in together. It's okay.
I can go. First of all, I wanted to just mention that I never thought of the community as like a collective notebook, and that image really, like when you mentioned it, there was something that really said yes, really feels a bit like that. And regarding how the Feldenkrais method and Fathom High has influenced my life, I would say that now I feel way more rooted, or at least in a way, I know I have tools to deal with what is happening to me, and therefore go through whatever is happening. So I feel, yeah, that there is concrete tools I can easily connect to, for instance, the breath to soften everything else, or sensing my feet on the ground, or accessing my backspace. And it's incredible how immediate it is. Like often I just need to think of something that I can perceive the state of the body starting transforming. And I think that that is something for sure. So this towards myself, and then I feel also there is a way bigger, or I don't know if bigger is the word, but softer maybe, that I can hold the space for listening to the other in a different way, without the idea to solve, or to give the good advice, or but just listening and witnessing, and allow the person to be with what they're dealing with, and to find the intelligence that it's rooted in each one of us. So yeah, something about offering the space of listening, and feeling confident in a way that it's not like arrogant, but in a way that it's, I'm confident because whatever happens, I know I can go through it, even if it's not gonna, it might be discomfortable, it might be also hard, but I know there is a place that I can always tune within. That's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I can go, because Pri, you said something that today came back also in one lesson I had, which is this simple option or space for listening, which nowadays it's always more rare and more complicated to give ourselves the time to just be as we are. And also, if I think of any other thing I did, like if I had a pain and I went to a physiotherapist, or something happened with my knee and then I went to an osteopath, and then in all that experience that then I completely stopped doing since I started Feldenkrais, but my memory is that I went somewhere and I exit from that place and I felt, I don't know, I'm just wrong. Like there is something wrong with my body, and I have to fix it, and I don't know how, because I paid for somebody who for a moment made me feel somehow different than usually I feel, but then I don't know how to continue. And what this method can give us, it's a completely different tool, which for me it's always surprising, and I find it has a lot of knowledge and richness, which just needs to be shared. Always more. So first of all, just listen, and then and then we first of all need to learn what we do and how we are. So this is for me the really big shift that Feldenkrais and Fahrenheit gave me, which takes time also. Like it's not immediate, and especially also coming from a dancer formation, it's constantly the feeling of having to put yourself in a correct way, or that there is some kind of ideal model to adjust to. So it's a completely different experience. But that now I feel I can dive through the world, and if I wake up and I have this pain, or maybe I jumped too badly and I have to deal with my knee now, then I have a way to go with that. And if I cannot do it alone, then I can do it with somebody else that practices this method, and together we can. So it's something so precious.
Yeah, like this is something that I really noticed in the free training that we did now of the physical mastermind. I think that oftentimes people are not being given the right tools that can help them heal, and many of the things that are being used out there are ones that perpetuate the problem or don't really treat the root cause. So it makes it so hard, and I think that very quickly people, many of us develop that feeling that there's something inherently wrong in our body, whereas in fact, all that's happening is that we're using a method that cannot really, if it's not treating the root cause, nothing really changes, which is to change the movement patterns. That's always how we can really, change this whole experience. Yeah. And Delphine, for you had a funny meeting at first with the method, no? Like when you started the method, the first time you came to a workshop, and you had what was it?
Yeah, I had like a tiredness fracture, like a bone of my foot was broken. And it was a long time I was hearing about your work, and I really wanted to join, and I booked this workshop a long time ago. And then, I don't know, 5-6 days before the workshop, I went on a hike and I couldn't walk anymore. And then I remember I wrote you because I was like, but I'm really, really interested. So I will ask Metal if I can just come and sit and watch, because it was presented as a dance workshop. So I was like, I cannot dance, I cannot walk, So, I mean, yeah, I could dance, but yeah. And then you told me, no, just come and you'll see. Probably there will be things on the floor, and you will find. I mean, probably you can take something from it. And so I came, and I remember indeed it was we started the workshop with an ATM, so a lesson that you were teaching Feldenkrais lesson. It was the clock of the pelvis, and it's laying, and it's a wonderful Feldenkrais class that I recommend. And I remember that the first afternoon it was more like going to improvisation, and I felt I could really find comfort and pleasure in improvisation, even though I was still like really in stress of my foot, and I was like, what to do. And then from the second day, I felt that something really switched in my relation with my foot, and my foot in relation to, in the whole relation around and within my foot. And I just noticed that, actually, in some improvisations, I started walking, but that the way I was spreading my weight was totally different, and that I had a way of organizing myself that just made that suddenly I was able to walk in a very comfortable way. I just had really like a lot of comfort, and just like, whoa, okay, this works, and this taste, stayed since then with me. Just it was really like a deep taste of almost if it would be like there would be butter or something in in a place that is initially really hurt and that I would be like, oh, that's not okay, but actually just opened up and blossomed, and then after like the third and fourth day, like the first day, I really remember that I was jumping, I was dancing like I rarely danced before, and it was.
Oh my God,
So
you
then
were
I thought like,
jumping,
oh, this
but you were
method is
okay,
quite
right? Like,
impressive. Yeah, I was great.
wow,
No, I was
that's
great because I
insane.
think that I really developed an awareness specific in this moment that just made that I could handle it and I could really reorganize myself in a way that was healthy for me. Yeah, and then I mean it was funny because then I would go out and then a few hours I would be fine, and then I would notice in the evening that my habits would come back, and I would again be like nya, nya, nya. But then it really came that just practicing, just it stayed and it's really installed in self.
This is something I always say to tribers in the beginning, and also to people that are trying out this method, like the people that came to the training of the physical mastermind, that at first all of this is new and it takes time for a new movement pattern to really ground itself into your system. So, each person has a different timing, like Delphine, your story, that it moves really fast. And there's people inside the tribe that joined when they're totally in pain, and through the work were able to really really improve their movement and yeah, like to really become so free inside their body, and without that constant nagging pain or tension or stiffness. But it's really something that takes time, and first your system will learn a new way, but it cannot right away jump into it and that's it. That's I think the essence of the tribe. That's what helps to make this work really something that becomes your lived embodied experience, which is a process. um yeah, it's I think it's just that I think that sometimes people think that because it's such a deep thing, the movement pattern, it feels like, okay, I've been walking like this for 20 years, for 30 years, for 40 years, for 50 years, and then what to change it now? How? Where do I start from? How is this even possible? But in reality, there are really simple and practical tools that wake up your brain and allow it to start to organize your body differently, like exactly like Delphine you shared, like the you were able to redistribute the weight inside your foot in a way that all of a sudden the pain was really reduced, or you could really feel free again to move, when a week before, what, you couldn't, a day before you couldn't walk, right? Like, or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So I think that
Yeah.
oftentimes we think that it's a really agonizing process or hard, but it's really not. That's the whole magic of it. That's what makes it feel so like unheard of or really kind of baffling. No? Do you know what I
But
mean,
I,
you
I
guys?
think that's yes, but something that, and indeed, like maybe in the sharing of this story, it's a bit tricky, is that this was really like a little miracle. And but what I observe and that what I really love in Feldenkrais is that at the same time I had moments that it was really like poof, like an explosion and everything changes and then but actually I practice it for 10 years now, and some other things I it took me 3 years, to navigate and find. But what I really love is that in a way Feldenkrais is so, I mean, the practice is so generous in itself. And actually, even if I mean, there is really like a beautiful connection to the unknown, that I don't know yet exactly what is going to bring me. And sometimes it opens like the paradise doors, and sometimes it was, oh, curious. And then I opened up something, but I don't know yet what is the result. But actually, this thing, it's really something that it brought me, like that actually is very, very deep, is to really start loving the way and the path and enjoying all these little moments of searching and exploring and being with myself. And I think that for sure I'm very grateful that Feldenkrais helped with my food, and now I also have like a chronic belly disease, and it helps me hugely with that, and I'm super grateful about that. But I think that what it mainly brought me, and I think that there the tribe is very important because it's also very generous and joyful, is that it brought a huge trust in my deep core in a way. And that Feldenkrais is really about coming back to our own structure and to our skeleton and to basic things, but that are actually so layered and deep. But this really is the first technique that opened up that I could feel really at home in myself. And that's really nice. That's a really long-term learning and discovery and gift. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's such a isn't that a recipe for a completely different day, you know, or a completely different
Yeah.
month or a completely different year in a life, and it runs so deep. Like it starts with the physical, but it goes so far beyond it. And do you guys maybe want to give, like, because all through this week I was sharing with people, and sometimes I'm kind of at a loss of words because the tribe is kind of my passion and my thing, so I get very excited when I speak about it. But I think it would be so lovely if you can share your experience of how it's like inside the tribe somehow, so that people can hear not only from me. I think that could be really lovely. There's all the time that silence.
Okay. Just before that, I wanted to add something because there was this word that kept on coming back, which is time. And then when I was hearing you, I thought that if there is something that truly changed, it's my relationship with time and my ability to recognize whether I am in a time that it's supporting me or not. And I feel that also how the ATMs are structured, the awareness through movement class, which you can find on the library. And then I am connecting to my next point.
Wait, that means Feldenkrais classes. For the people that are less familiar with Feldenkrais, that means a Feldenkrais class. Yes, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, thank you. That there is this knowledge of balancing between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, so the action and the resting, recovering, and that I became much more aware of when my body needed rest and when I wasn't listening to my body and I was in a constant hurry, forcing my body to be in a time that it's not the time that was helpful for the organic learning, which is the learning that we are not pushing in order to arrive to a goal, but it's the learning that just because you allow yourself to be in a state that it's transformative happens as a miracle, as Delphine said, like a little miracle. And it can be in a very short time or it can be in a long time. But yeah, so that said, my experience. So first of all, I mainly see it in this way. There is the library, which is this space in which there are different categories of classes, and therefore I go there almost every day, and I do a class. Sometimes to choose which class to do, I go on the other platform, which is the community platform, where people are sharing class they did, questions, or even just like thoughts, reflection. I really love this image of the collective notebook. So often I must say that I go there and I see if my friends have recommended a class, or if not, I follow more like what I need. Also, sometimes in relation to the availability I have, like sometimes I really need to go, but I want to do a class before leaving my house, but I have half an hour. So I put the filter half an hour class and I find the class that might be fitting for this particular circumstances. But most of the time I like longer classes. And sometimes it's really related with tension that I might feel, or something that I know it might be helpful for what I'm gonna do in the afternoon. So this is how I orient myself in choosing the class. And then there is this other platform, which is the community, and there there is a space where to share whatever. Like it's very open, and you can again suggest a class or share your insights about a class, which is also very beautiful, because then you find yourself doing the class and remembering that insight of the moment in which the flower is blossoming inside the belly. And then you're remembering the words of Delphine that you read, and you're like, this is the moment Delphine was referring to. So I don't know, in a way, you also feel that as you're doing your practice, that it's very intimate and personal, yet you can sense the presence of the other people. And this is very beautiful.
Absolutely. Like that was so important when first creating it, because I feel that it's different when we're doing this alone or trying to navigate alone through anything that we might be going through. And it's different when there's a feeling of a certain community that can embrace you in and support you, because it's composed out of people that really get it, that freaking get it, because they know how it feels. That's so different. I think that sometimes with the people in our lives, they don't always understand what we're moving through. And nevertheless, like, I think it's still quite open in a sense that people can be a part of it, and some people are not looking for that so much, so they don't really opt into that. They're more into the library, or they want to come to the Zoom lessons, or some people are busier and there's the whole snacks section, like super short lessons of 5 to 15 minutes. So I think when I was building this, I think that was one of the things that I was really trying to create a situation that this becomes extremely easy to practice and really accessible. Yeah, sorry. I started to talk about the tribe and I asked you to. There's an opportunity for me to be quiet. Yes. I'll shut up now.
Yeah, I really relate to what you were saying, Pri, and I think that what the tribe is bringing to me, I mean, as a receiver and giver, like it's actually a super nice position, because we can all be like receiver and givers in the chat, in the tribe, because we can all propose something that was impacting to us, and we can all receive like all the recommendations of the others. So I really like this flow. But I think it's really this way of feeling that we are going through this journey together. And indeed, like I think that some people are not really interested by that, and it's really fine. Like it's really fine. But some people are, and also sometimes people are not for a while, and then actually they come back on a question inside of them through practicing, and it comes back and it comes back, and then they end up like, oh, maybe in the chat we can speak about that, and then it opens up like really super interesting conversations. And for me, it's really rich also indeed to see like the different perspectives of the different persons intervening, like from the tribers, from the mentors, from Meta, like they're all, in a way, this is something that I really love in Feldenkrais, is that there is not one perfect body, or there is not one perfect state to achieve, but it's always looking for, wondering, asking ourselves questions and exploring. And in there, actually, all the experiences are extremely interesting and can really inform each of us in this path. So yeah, when people, I mean, yeah, that's the beauty of Feldenkrais. Maybe you have done it like for me, like for some years, and for some people they started yesterday, but still we can actually quite deeply connect. And I mean, I think for me, it also gives me hope on society. Like, I'm just like, yeah, so we can connect. It's possible. And in a soft and healthy way. And really, okay, we can all go through that. And I mean, we can all practice that. And yeah, so it's beautiful for me.
Thank you so much, Delphine. Chiara, do you want to share a bit?
Yes. I connect to everything you said already. For me, it's very precious to have a space that I can relate to also the journey of other people, and maybe there is a little fragment of that. But if I want to practice, and then I have also the option to see what other people are practicing or practice it during the week, and then share and say something about it, is so much more rich. And that's also because this method brings this aspect that when we experience a movement, maybe it's the same movement in the way you can describe it, but then it's completely different the way we experience it. So it's endless. It's really endless. And so as a space, or as a yes, so like somewhere to know that there is always this I don't know the word in English. In Italian we can say un punto d'appoggio. Pri, I don't know how I can translate that. Like somewhere I can lean during the day, but also like a leaning point is also where you start with a class. When you lay on the floor and then you start to listen to that, it's like it's very precious. So yeah, that's what I can say.
Thank you so much, you guys. Yeah, there's something really precious about that space, and now in particular, like it's so amazing to see because we open the doors on Monday and we're already having people that are joining and starting their journey, and like it, I feel like the luckiest person alive because we have this feature inside the tribe that people can leave a comment after. Oh, we lost Delphine for a moment. Okay, she will be back, and she might have lost connection. So inside the tribe, there's this feature that people can leave a comment after a class, and I read everything and I kind of react on it, and it's amazing to see. You know, I would go somewhere in my day and I would open to check how is everyone moving through things, how are they feeling and stuff like that, and I would see these messages. I did this class. I'm finding I feel so different. I feel so free. My pain here is gone. The tension is gone. All of these things, and I'm just like I cannot believe that I'm sitting here in Portugal. You know, really somewhere, and then somewhere else in the world, there's now all of this thing that we're doing together. That I don't know. For me, there's something so exciting about it. You know, it just feels so alive in that sense, you know? Hey, Delphine, you're back. We lost you for a second. Yeah, but and you guys, maybe you could share a little bit with people, like, what do you love most about guiding tribers inside this space? Like, what? mm, Yeah, I'm gonna. Maybe I should say, Delphine, what do you think? Or Pri, or I think you guys are waiting for someone to see if it's the. Oh, we cannot hear you, Delphine. Ah,
Okay, I can
Yeah,
go
now
also.
you hear me?
yeah.
Ah.
Sorry. Who said they can go? I'm sorry.
I said, no, you said so. Yeah. Yeah, go.
I go? Okay. I think there is something about what Chiara was mentioning, which is this sense of collectiveness that can be very virtuous. Virtuous, I don't know if it's a word, but very supporting. And what we are dealing with, it's very deep and very intimate. And at the same time, it's always, I think there is a part of it that has to do with how we translate that into not only words, but understanding, which is also a very valuable process. And this platform where people are doing this as if they are, it feels like a collective digestion of the learning, no? So it's that space where you can translate what you have experienced in words and to share these words with other, so that other can then reflect or be supported by that insight in a way. So a bit connecting with what I was sharing in the very first question, I feel that as a mentor, my role, our role, it's nothing more than like being present, because in the end, also what it's all about is that we are practicing presence. And there is something about knowing that there is someone else that is gonna read what you're writing and that is gonna reply and that is gonna add maybe a little piece of the puzzle, that it's already something very big. So I would say it's simply presence and very authentic exchange. There is not this. I feel also in the approach. Of course, we do know certain things because we have studied, and there is many years of experience within the practice. So of course, we can orientate the person that is asking a question, but the best answer would always be asking another question in a way, so that it's not about like telling you how to do something, but it's guiding you and supporting you to find what is your unique way to do that thing. Something like this.
Yeah, that's amazing. And indeed, like there, I'm just gonna mention briefly, you guys that are watching, please ask questions. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that before. My bad. I'm not so used to these lives. Like I'm new in doing them. But we would absolutely love answering your questions. So any kind of question that you have, just drop it in here, and I will make sure to ask it to the tribers and to maybe also give an echo to it. So NG9173, you asked if you can ask a question. So please go ahead and write to us, and we'll be happy to reply. Okay. But meanwhile, you guys can keep going until I will kind of listen in to the questions that come in and send them your way when they come. Chiara, what do you think?
Yes. I was questioning myself when you asked about the. There is the question. Do you want to read it? I just,
Maybe.
or I can go forward if you want. I just say it and.
Okay, you say it, and then I will read it.
Yeah. That I think the writing just can, like, as a mentor, as a triber in general, it's a great way of processing also. And when I practice, I always have somehow, since I'm part of this thing with you all, I have in the back of my mind this fact that something about this that I experience, I can, or I might share it at some point. And then in order to share, there is also this process of finding words to say that and to make it in a way that can be shared with people also that I don't know. So the fact of language also for me is interesting, because something is if I share my practice with somebody I know, or if when like the fact of the group of the tribe is that also sharing with people that we don't know directly, but that we can have a dialogue through that. So Then when I read other people questions, and this becomes always wider and bigger, it's really interesting. And also what Pri was saying of finding a way that the answer is not an answer but can be a way of supporting everybody experience is very rich.
So much so. And we have a question coming in from NG9173. So they mentioned, I've been trying to rewire my nervous system for about 3 years, and I was working with a coach and doing somatic exercises, some very fast paced, like jumping, jacks, and intense dancing. It felt like just doing a motion to feel better, no connection to the body, but trying to fix. This feels so much more safe for my system. Plus, I realized the proprioception, it helps a lot. Can you please speak a little more in depth about how the nervous system responds over time to this work and what is happening in the nervous system? Thank you. So maybe I can start a little bit and then throw the ball to you guys. Is that okay? So NG9173 and anyone else, I think this is really a very valuable question, because sometimes we don't even understand or realize just how crucial the nervous system is in learning, in growing, in healing. And there's one, for example, there's, just to give you an example of just how important this is, whenever you're in a healing process, and no matter what kind of healing it is, actually, there's always that phase of the nervous system learning to land back into safety and into a space that it can start to feel more at rest, more at ease. Otherwise, nothing can happen and we cannot learn a new way. When you are wired up, it's like a dog that's standing on guard. It's busy all the time with hypervigilance and with being activated. And it's such a different thing from a cat that walks slowly and then shakes a bit his fur, and then it's such a different rhythm. Now, there's two states of the nervous system, in fact. One of them is the sympathetic nervous system, which is when you're more activated. This relates more to being very in control, very much in the head. It relates more to stress or to overactivation, and sometimes to feeling constantly wired up. Like if you feel, for example, like you cannot rest no matter what you do, you try to meditate, but you feel this kind of, it's like you feel this going on inside constantly. So what this work does is that it starts to do this, and then it does this, and then it just, you land. And that's why I say, and I never managed to touch it with words, that it's not only about movement. It starts with movement, but it doesn't end there. There's so much more that opens up, because when you feel more comfortable inside your skin, when you're not stressed any longer, so what happens there when you, instead of doing this, you land into this, is that you change from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is what is a mode of repair, is our kind of restore and repair mode. It's where we experience deep relaxation. It's where we experience much more creativity, healing, restoration. All of this can happen only in that state. All the noise, all the hecticness of life, that happens in the other one. So what this work does in a very practical way, because it speaks through your body, but it's not about the body only. It speaks directly, taps into your nervous system, because we use tools that wake up the brain. The brain is sitting there and kind of trying to automatically move you through life. This is what the brain wants, because it needs to get you functional. You need to brush your teeth. You don't want to think too much. You just want to be able to do it. But in many ways, this is this kind of mode that when you're practicing this work, your brain wakes up and all of a sudden is starting to listen differently and to find a different way of attention and really landing into the body. So this is why NG9173, you say, you say that this feels much safer, but this is exactly the point, because now there is something that speaks to your nervous system in a language of safety and not in a language of constantly trying to fix it. And crazily enough, and so unbelievably enough, this is where we start to see the biggest changes happening, and people are learning to do stuff they never thought they would be able to. So that's what's so exciting about this work. It never asks you to be something that you're not. It does the opposite. It asks you to land deeper into what you are. You know, like one of the mentors said before, that it's all about believing or trusting the inherent ability of your body to heal itself and to learn a different way. As a baby, you knew how to do that. You went through that phase of learning to walk and to talk in most cases, or to do fine motor activities. This is such a, yeah, to go back to the same kind of mode is superpowers, essentially. Yeah, okay. Sorry. You guys, there you go. I'm throwing this at you now. If you want to share as well your thoughts, to add anything.
I think I can add a little thing about that, is that actually a lot of practices of meditation, I mean, like all the practices that could bring some relaxation in certain point, in the past, before Feldenkrais, sometimes I could really get stuck in them. And I still practice them and I still love it. And it's still like a deep core part of my practice. But I felt that I was struggling and I couldn't really find my path through these practices. And I think that what was really like mind and body and being blowing with Feldenkrais is that there was this relation to the daily life. And so I was not stuck in a bubble of everything is perfect, everything is under control, and I can navigate because I just have the information that I need and I can go through. So in a way, my nervous system was tack, super active, and then fully going like there. But the in between was not really working. And that was really complex. And then actually, I also discovered this polyvagal theory that is really like some kind of deep study of the nervous system that is also very interesting. And then they were speaking about the fact that actually a healthy nervous system is a nervous system that can go from one state to another in movement, that you can go from one to another. Because actually all these states are important. They all have some kind of importance. They have a function in you. And so it's not about saying that we cannot go in sympathetic in English, nervous state, but we go when it's the moment and when it's good for us, and we're not stuck there. And the fact that Feldenkrais is always bringing us to this, coming back to our the daily functions, like walking, taking something, turning, all these things makes that you can really like develop in these moments a higher adaptability of the nervous system. And this was like really changing for me.
Thank you so much for, that's really incredible. And maybe Pri or Chiara, you can help with the next question. Pizzilla7 is asking, can bodily contractions and misalignment be corrected? And what about poor balance? Thank you. I should do like a entertainment moment until the until we unmute. Do you guys want to answer? Should I?
Yes.
Chiara, yes.
But Priscilla, you were going? No, it's okay. You can be corrected. Yes, there are many tools. Maybe I can say about contractions, which is something I'm really interested about, because I'm mainly working with children with special needs, and there is something that can come very clear through for people maybe who have had an experience But when there is some very strong contractions, if you have an image of a also, I don't know, of your parent or maybe somebody who know you, you know, that had a stroke or. But we all have contractions, so I don't have to go that far. Maybe it's just because I'm also in the. I am diving through my practice, so I'm starting to observe, and that's something. So when we have a contraction, what we are usually taught to do is to do the opposite movement. And what through the Feldenkrais and the Fathom High you can discover is that there is something very special about, first of all, getting to know exactly what you're doing. So there are many classes also in the library of Meital that are more specific about the neck pain relief or lower back. And the first thing that you can do, for example, to this morning I woke up with very bad pain in my neck because I probably slept too badly on the side. And the first thing I could do is simply to start bending in the direction I already went to naturally, or where I slept to. And then from there, or through the side bending, start to find very small variations. So if the muscle fiber is contracted and then stays contracted because the muscle is completely connected in the dialogue with the nervous system, then through a very gentle movement, which also we practice in this method, then it can eventually let go. So, but first of all, it's about recognizing what is already happening. And this is something super important that I had nowhere else I found, and that it can be really turning key for your experience and finding your alignment and experiencing your balance and all of that for sure. I don't know if you want to say something else. This is what came to my mind.
This is so true. I would add maybe one thing that in many ways balance is the ability to catch ourselves sooner, because we are never really, I was sharing this I've been sending people messages, that people that were asking questions, like sending the messages, trying to share explanations about it. I was sharing this with one of the people that I communicated with, like, we're never really just stable. Like, that's not how balance works. Balance is in fact the ability to constantly repair and find back a place that feels like a middle, but essentially our body's all the time moving a bit. So we're all the time tasting what, like, moving around our middle. And what you learn to do through this work, the reason that it helps balance, is because you learn to recognize earlier on when you're about to start. For example, it really helps to not fall, to improve the likelihood of falling down. So how does it do that? Because you learn to catch yourself earlier on before you move too far away to be able to recover. Because it's exactly like Chiara says, you're more aware. And it's not like you go around all day kind of micromanaging yourself or trying to, it's not that. It's not like being a police officer of yourself. You need to stand like this or be like, no, it's none of that. It's actually just taking that 5 minutes, that 10 minutes, that 20 minutes, that half hour. There's different lessons, different times, but taking that short moment to feel where your body is and to let it unwind and open up, so that when you stand up, when you reach out to a shelf, all of a sudden, ooh, the arm just goes there. You don't need to, you're not guarding, you're not bracing, you're not tensing, and you find a deep sense of ease when you're moving. I hope that this kind of helps, Pizzila. And Agnes is asking, I don't know if anyone has already asked, but are the classes always different in the tribe? Basically, what am I looking into? Whether I will ever if I ever feel I grew out of Fathom High. The thing is that it's organized, the library is organized with a lot of Feldenkrais classes and a lot of Fathom High classes. So there's everything for everyone. Some people prefer Feldenkrais, some people prefer both, some people prefer more Fathom High practice. But essentially, the way that it's organized, it's not about content or you just doing a class in the sake of doing it. It's to help your body. So it's all organized to solve problems essentially, or to help you give a very clear and helpful response to a challenge that you're facing. So we don't see, guys, how would you speak about, because we don't see so much people grow out of it. Like, I think that's one of the reasons that oftentimes people stay for a very long time after they join, because they really, it always feels like there's something to learn. But I don't know how to talk about this. Do you want to, maybe one of you wants to take this over? And
Yeah, I can. Do you hear me?
yes.
Okay. I think that the approach is it's different. I feel that it's not that you come with a problem and then you dive in the tribe and what you're gonna find is the solution to that problem. It's not that linear. It's more that you come with a problem and probably you will understand why there is this tension. So the aim is not solving this tension. The aim is understanding why there is the tension, and therefore it will change and you won't have the tension anymore. This is a bit the approach. And I feel that in this way, the learning, it's like infinite, in the sense that there is not a day that you feel like, okay, now it's enough. Now I know everything. Like, you can always go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's not that, of course, nobody is obliged to stay. Of course, if you feel that you got enough of it, you are always free to go. But the point is that it's a practice that you come back to, and you are always different in the way you approach it, and you are always in a process of learning. And this is something that I often refer to this article that Moshe Feldenkrais wrote, which is on health. And he describes health as the ability of a person to readapt, and that even like elderly people are healthy if they're still in a process of learning. So there is something about like keep yourself in the process of learning through the body. That's why it's called embodied learning. So that would be something. And yeah, maybe I stop here. There are a few things that are still from the previous question, but maybe it's fine. We already covered part of it. But yeah, I don't know if there is something you would like to add about it. This one.
It feels like a really thorough response to it. I think that it captures it so well that we have that, you know, we stay alive if we keep on learning and living and not moving through automatic pilot. It just so we become enthusiasts in that way to learn. And of course, like Brie said, like there's no people, like no one's obliged to stay, and it's really, there's no commitment. It's a space that is really just there for you for as long as it feels right and good. There's no, you know, people are really free to move in, to move out whenever they feel like it. This is really important to say. And Isabel is asking, what is the difference with body mind centering from Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen? Would any of you like to answer this? I think Delphine, you need to go soon, right? Do you want to maybe answer this? And then if you need to go, we will continue a bit. I just want to make sure I answer everyone's questions, but
I think I really need to be gone in 5 minutes. So I maybe, last question. But I'm not a big specialist of body mind centering. So, I mean, I could speak about what I know, but maybe if one of you dove deeper in it, this may be better.
I don't feel like an expert in it either. So I don't. Brie, Chiara, are you more familiar with the method? I know it a bit, but I don't feel like I know it enough to really speak about it very concisely.
I am the same. I am in the same thing. Maybe the only thing I can say, in my formation, now where I study Feldenkrais, there are one trainer of body mind centering, and we've also worked together with a child in Rome. So I don't know. I just know watching at him working with this child, and from here also in the center, he's treating many people who are doing Feldenkrais, and then maybe ask him because they want to experience it, what is different with body mind centering or session. And for me, just watch. I cannot speak about what is body mind centering because I don't know. I just see one difference, which is about learning, basically, because in body mind centering there are many like there is the experiencing of and also working with the image of many different layers of the body. They maybe include more than we do in Feldenkrais. I feel what concerns the organs or other tissues, whereas we are mainly focusing on work with nervous system and skeleton. Like we have some references that guide us through the work. And what is the main difference for me is the time of learning. And I don't know if I'm explaining it well what I felt, but just the Feldenkrais method has this core for me that is how we are learning movement, and that makes a difference rather than yeah, I don't know. I stop here. I don't want to say things that I don't know. Just
Yeah, I think that I'm sorry, Isabel. I think that none of us are familiar on a level that we feel comfortable really giving you a very concrete answer about this. If you want, reach to us by email, and I can research more about this and let you know. But I would need to understand a bit better body mind centering before I speak about it. And
I mean, maybe a little thing I can add.
Yeah, please.
Because I find it really, really interesting, actually, and really different ways to approach body and work in general. Is that from what I experienced in all the workshops I did of body mind centering, is that you're very much guided into some imaginaries and some very specific frames. So now we're going to work on the organs, and these images are coming, and there is also some kind of mood that you're guided into some moods in what I received as learning, as teaching. And in Feldenkrais, Feldenkrais is more of a score that you receive, that you explore, in which all of these things are possible, but you don't have to enter a specific mood to reach it or to succeed it. You don't have to have this kind of nice image. I really love the images of BMT, but you don't have to enter specific images to have to go far in the work. So I love both techniques, but I know much more Feldenkrais, and in Feldenkrais, what is really dear to me is that it takes me from wherever I am in any moment, and if I will go more energetic and more tak, it's welcome. And if I really need to actually do 2 movements in 2 hours, it's also very welcome, because what is really important is my path of learning and how then it's another conversation for what it can do. But this is a bit the big difference that I see from what my experience.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this practice meets you where you are. And I think that oftentimes that's one of the reasons that it can feel deeply inclusive, that it can feel like it speaks to your system. And there's people that come from all walks of life, people that have zero background in movement before, and people that have been moving or trying different methods or engaging with different practices for a very long time. And yet there's room for everyone feels like they're learning and growing. That's, I think, one of the strengths of it. It's almost radically inclusive, which is something that I really appreciate about it. Delphine, if you need to go, I don't want to keep you. So thank you so
Yeah,
much, Delphine, for joining us today. Delphine has to go. She has the
yeah,
premiere of a very dear friend
yeah.
starting in
Sorry.
20 minutes.
In
So,
20 minutes, I will back fast. But
okay.
thanks a lot. It was really precious to exchange. And yeah, see you soon. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Delphine, for joining. And Chiara, Brie, maybe we can stay a little bit more. Just, I don't know if we covered everything. Barbara mentioned that she just joined. Welcome. So lovely to have you, the tribe, and looking forward to starting. And if you want advice, Barbara, what you should do is to simply go into the community. This is exactly the point. Like the mentors and I are there, and this is one of the reasons I wanted you guys to meet them today, because I think it's so different to understand who's on the other side. And I think that oftentimes these kind of spaces online can feel pretty, I don't know, generic or kind of like non-personal and non-intimate. And that's what I love about this. I like here, for me, what's at the core of it is that there's always real people on the other side that deeply care about where you're at and what you're moving through. And yeah, I think we can all feel from them, that's that's the ambience. You guys, before we finish, because we'll finish in a moment, if anyone has any more questions, please write to us. Um, but is there anything else that you want to share before we close? Like, uh, nice to meet the mentors. Love letter to a ghost is saying thank you. So, Pri, Chiara, do you want to share anything?
Yeah, vabbè, I can share a few things that I had in my mind regarding previous questions. There is something about the fact that most of the class starts lying on the floor. Not all of them, but most of them. And that it has to do with, of course, sensing the weight, but also surrendering to gravity, and therefore allowing the muscular tension to lower, in order to feel in a more subtle way differences. I will always remember this image of if I have 3 books on my hands and I would place a fourth one, I won't feel the difference of the fourth one. But if I have a piece of paper and then I would and then I would place the book, then I would sense the difference of the weight of the book. And yeah, and there is something about this that has to do with the muscular tension that we were referring before to, and the fact that when there is less muscular tension, we can perceive differences. And also the fact that when there is muscular tension, we have the tendency to not go there because it's painful. But actually, it is very helpful if we can slow down and go with a very delicate movement and be there in that space of difficulty, because then we would send message to the nervous system saying, hey, I have difficulties here, come and help me to solve this. So there is this thing, and then the fact that as we are lying on the floor, we are, and this is more connected with the question about balance, we are working with drawing connection between different areas. For instance, Meital often use this image of these 3 balls, which are the skull, the shoulder girdle, and the pelvis. And we are drawing connection, understanding how if we move something, then there is an echo that unfolds and moves the other side. And then we are trying to meet this connection also when we are standing up in verticality. And one last thing that came to my mind about this question of improving balance it's also the fact that we learn through differences, and we all have a standing leg, and we all have a leg on which we stay a little longer when we are walking, no? And then in the moment in which we start recognizing all those differences of, okay, there is a leg that is closer to the middle line, and there is a leg on which I feel more safe, and there is a side in which I can rotate more easily. The moment I start recognizing all of these differences, I'm actually informing my nervous system about it and inviting my nervous system to learn from the other side. And this also reminds me of Meital, which very often is saying, like, it's a miracle that we have two sides so that we can learn through differentiation, no? So yes, these three things that came and that I wanted to share. And then also very briefly about body mind centering. I'm also not an expertise. I did few classes, but I think, as Chiara was mentioning, there is something about the learning as being the core principle of the Feldenkrais, and the ability to tune and sense and perceive movement, which I feel it's very fundamental in the Feldenkrais, whether, as my experience of the body mind centering, it's more understanding my body through an experience, and also diving through different layers. So there is the skeleton, the nervous system, the muscular, the fascia, and then like dividing the organic. Whether the Feldenkrais, in a way, it feels like it's very holistic because it takes everything in together, and we are observing how this all function together through movement. Chiuso, finito.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pri. And Chiara, is there anything that you want to share before we say goodbye to the lovely people that are joining us?
One last thing is the word enthusiasm, because when I was studying with Meital years ago, I thought she has this quality, like that. I felt she's so enthusiastic about, like, she can pass this enthusiasm for movement and learning, that in the classes, I was just like, it was mind blowing, like because I could also go through the experience. But there is something very specific for me, like really, like I say it to you because I feel it's very honest and true what I say. And then through the work with children, I came again across this word, because there is something about the joy of learning that is very important to give also as a space, which is not, it doesn't have to do with having to shout out loud or clap or do anything strange about it, but just the happiness to recognize that we felt something, or there's something is changing, or that we can acknowledge or feel a difference. And so I just wanted to share this word that I think then afterward, after many times, like, it always stayed in my mind about the work of Meital, and then it came back, and I'm like, yeah, because it's really deep rooted in the learning process. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you, Chiara. You guys, thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us. And maybe a moment before we finish, just to kind of share, because tomorrow is the last day that the tribe doors are open, and there's something really beautiful that kind of unfolded, because people have been starting to join since Monday. So there's already people there that are a couple of days there, and it's been really incredible to read what they share. Shivani, maybe you can share. We put it together in a little page so that you can see how it is actually like inside once you join, and the kind of, right away when you're there and you're starting to practice, the kind of experiences that people are already moving through, which I think is so, yeah, for me, it's such a heartwarming moment, because once also people join in now, once we close the doors, I'm going to do extra coaching sessions, extra group coaching sessions for 5 weeks with the people that are joining, to really support them and help them get settled into this practice. And the whole idea is that we are, yeah, thank you. Shivani has shared the link below. If you want to check it out, like what people are moving through, it's pretty, pretty freaking awesome. And yeah, this whole space is really about creating really coming back home to really feel that deep sense of ease and freedom. And this is my life's work, and it's done with all of the love that I carry to this, and with the mentors that are with me in this journey, and with the tribers, and it's this thing that keeps on growing. So yeah, that's it for me. That's the tribe. It was important for me to, to also yeah, sit with what it is to me. So thank you so much for tuning in and joining live. And I wish you guys a beautiful evening. Yes, and thank you so much. I'm gonna try to figure out how do I end the live stream. It's always a question. Love letter to a ghost. Thank you for the 3 mentors, Fathom High, being here only for a few minutes in the session, but I am very happy that I tuned in. I became a tribe member. Yay! And Feldenkrais is such a beautiful practice. Good evening to everyone. Thank you so much, you guys. I wish you a beautiful evening, and thank you so much for spending yours with us. Okay, see you soon. Ciao.
Ciao.